Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Glam Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to answer a question that was asked by Carl in my Patreon page. And Carl mentioned that I just made a video on discipline, just showing up to the gym over and over again, even if you don't feel like training, is a necessary pattern in order to overcome the adversity of training itself. Sometimes you have good training days, sometimes you have bad training days, and if you keep showing up, eventually you overcome this adversity. Right? So you may have lower intensity workouts sometimes and you just go through the motions. Maybe you do a lighter workout, maybe it's a smaller workout, maybe it's just a rehabilitation workout, whatever you want to call it. But this helps you with attaining your bodybuilding or fitness goals, right? But Carl said, when are the times that you should not work out? Because obviously pushing through regardless, no matter what's going on in your body, is not necessarily the right thing either, right? So he just asked me, what are the stipulations around this? Now, in the end, this channel is about you connecting to your body and having this communication. And the deepening of that awareness is the most important thing. Because this isn't about selling you the alpha thing as far as, you got to be alpha, you always got to push through the adversity. I see people, and some of them, have subscribed to this channel, and they're always like, yeah, I lifted 700 pounds today and I just pushed through and whatever. And everything's about accomplishment and about how many reps I got and look at me, yay, and all this. This is an ego trap, because at some point you'll find yourself trying to fulfill this idea of yourself. And when you can't fulfill that idea, then what hits? Depression. Right? You start to have the opposite polarity. So you're having the overwhelming highs, and then you're having the overwhelming lows. So you're using working out as a drug. So it's not really serving you in bringing an unconditional relationship with life. You know what I'm saying? So without getting too deep in this, you want to take the ego out of your training. Because if your ego is in there, you're going to suffer one day, and then you're going to feel great another day. And that will get in the way of you making the wisest decision around what is right to your training right now. That will get in the way every time. We all know guys, most of us actually have put our goal ahead of what's happening in this moment and said our goal is more important, and we push through stuff we shouldn't have pushed through. I see guys in the comments all the time. I see guys all the time on YouTube, all the time on Instagram, talking about what they've accomplished, and then they struggle to maintain that when life starts to throw them some curveballs, but they push through anyway, and they shouldn't have. And then of course we see the snappy things, or we see, the injuries and stuff going on. So what I'm saying is, when I talk about discipline, I'm saying to overcome your own emotional or mental tenacity is the word that is used in my house. But the bottom line is that sluggishness or laziness that's self-made. Right? That your mind is just telling you, what's the point? I'm not really motivated today. I'm not feeling that excitement. You know what I'm saying? Like training's not exciting to me, so I shouldn't train. That is something you should ignore, because that's just you being addicted to excitement. You want to take that out. You want to take that middleman out of the whole thing. And you also want to pay attention to how your body feels and then go through the motions that way. But if your body, literally your physical body, is having some sort of massive injury or some sort of problem, such as maybe you have a lower back injury, and then you're saying, I got to do heavy squats today. Well, obviously that's not the right time to do heavy squats, right? Or when I do this exercise, I get massive grinding pain through my entire joint or my body. Well, then that's obviously not the right time to do that exercise. You see, so you have to make allowances for this. This is when your ego is taken out of training. When your ego is taken out of training, then you can make wise choices. But unfortunately, you guys are being peppered constantly with this alpha bullshit that's in the fitness industry. And that alpha bullshit is indoctrinating you and is training you to ignore real adversities as opposed to adversities that are self-made or made up. Right? Sometimes if a rhinoceros is standing in front of you, it's probably not a good time to pretend that you're a bull in charge. You know what I'm saying? There are physical limitations to the body. You just don't want to impose false limitations on it, right? But you also don't want to impose false ideals upon it either. right? Like getting under 700 pounds on the bench and your pecs feel a little tight that day. I'm just gonna try to push 700 pounds even though I've only pushed 300 my whole life. That would be stupid, right? That would cause an injury. So in this tradition, pay attention to what's happening. If you're experiencing massive inflammation somewhere, if you're experiencing massive joint pain somewhere, if you're experiencing like an injury, like a back injury or neck injury, yeah, work around that. Or maybe it's the best thing for you to take time off, right? If you're noticing that every time you work out, that symptom gets worse, then maybe there's something that needs to be adjusted, or there's some rest that needs to be addressed, or there's some nutritional deficiency, whatever that might be. But that might be the time that you'd consider taking time off, because there's something physical going on that you're not healing from for whatever reason. And if you keep pushing through it, you'll just make the situation worse, right? In an obvious sort of thing, like say you have a broken ankle, you don't have a cast on it, and the bones are like fragmented and pushing through the skin, well, that wouldn't be a good squat day, right? Pretty obvious, right? But really what I want to do is make this as an excuse to really talk about this indoctrination or propaganda that's pushed upon people in the fitness industry, which is really why I've had a hard time working with companies with this false ideal, right? There have been companies or people have asked to sponsor me or have sponsored me, and they talk about connection and tribe and everything's about, heart-centered this and heart-centered that. But meanwhile, you look at their lifestyle, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with this goal and this fanatical lifestyle that has to do with achieving a goal, even if you have to push people in relationship out of the way to achieve it. But they talk about relationship. You see, this is going on in the collective consciousness right now. You see it all over the world, where people talk about love and connection. But when you look at what they're actually doing, it has nothing to do with that. What they're doing is manipulating you emotionally to get you on board with their goal. So what I'm trying to say to you is you don't want to be manipulated by these fanatical ideals that people have, because when you're living in an ideal, you're not living here and now with your body. Here and now. And here and now is going to show you when to push and when not to push. And yeah, you're going to fail sometimes, or you're going to misinterpret some stuff that happens in your body. But the best thing you can do is grow in your awareness, pay attention to what's happening in your body, pay attention to what happened the next day after such and such thing happened in your body. And as this goes on, nobody will be able to tell you what to do. They'll only be able to make suggestions, but in the end, you're going to be the one that will know or have a more intimate connection with your body in this moment and be able to make the best decision, right? Some people, it's the right thing to train when they're a little bit sore. Muscle soreness is not a big deal. But for other people, if they train, they just basically overtrain. If they train when they're too sore, how much is too sore? It's all subjective. What if somebody's really numb from the neck down? And when they're just a tiny bit sore, their body's basically broken to pieces, right? Where somebody else who's extremely aware, or their nervous system is wired a certain way where they sense all the subtle little things going on in the nervous system. When they're a subtle little bit sore, it's no problem for them to train. And even if they're really sore, they can still train because they are aware of the subtleties within the subtleties of that soreness. So the first step is to get out of your mind when it comes to training. That's the most important thing I can tell you. That's the best way you're going to start to understand or grow in wisdom of when is the right time to train and when is the wrong time to train. Right? I make decisions all the time with myself. Like for instance, when I'm doing shoulder presses, right? I'm doing shoulder presses from here to here, but when I go above here to here, because of the dislocating shoulder, my neck starts to pull weird on one side as opposed to the other because of one torn labrum. And I know it's more of a neck injury waiting to happen instead of intensity on the delts. So I have catered my range of motion to that. And of course, I've tested this as well. I grew in awareness. I locked out a few times, right, with some super heavy weight and tweaked the shoulder, and it took me 3 or 4 months to recover from. So I know what is the right thing for my body, even if it looks stupid. Sometimes it looks stupid. People are like giving me shit all the time in the comments. Hey, what you're doing is stupid. That's the wrong way to train. You're not supposed to lift that way. But my body is the guru, is the teacher. It's not up to me to tell the body what it should be able to do or shouldn't be able to do when it is showing signs of what is right and wrong. If you're obviously snapping something, that can't be the right thing. So don't fall for the alpha trap. I joke around on this and talk about pumpy and lumpy and all that kind of stuff, but in the end, This is all just an excuse to grow in your awareness, just like this, just me training is an excuse for me to make videos and to have a conversation with you and have a laugh here and there. But really what this is about is growing in connection with yourself. And people who are truly connected with themselves, the true self, not the ego, not the idea of themselves, but truly connected with themselves in this moment, they are better able to connect with others. But if you see most of the people that are getting popular on YouTube, or not most, let's be fair, not most, but a lot. Let's just say a lot of people that are getting really popular on YouTube or Instagram, you'll see that it's a lot about a self-idea worship. It's like a self-idolization. And they're trying to pull you into, hey, you worship me too because I did this or I did that. But it has nothing to do with a mutual exchange of connection. That's really what we're here for, you know? And honestly, any YouTube channel out there that's just pushing you into this dream of a greater disassociation, it's really just enabling this problem we have in the world right now where people aren't really connected. They're just all sharing dreams and goals, but it's all about them in the end and about how others can support that dream or goal or aspiration. So that's not what I want this channel to be about. And honestly, you know, I'm older now. I can't fulfill the same expectations as what I did when I was 30, 35 years old, right? So the fact is that this is the nature of things. This is the way life forces you into wisdom. It forces you into understanding or experiencing the reality of life, right? The ego falls all the time. I mean, watch the movie Thor. Watch what happened to him. You know what I mean? It's a great metaphor for what happens to athletes or people that accomplish in any way and realize, oh, wow, I accomplished a bunch of shit, but life is still empty. So the connection, that is never empty. Connect to the self, connect to here and now, follow what your awareness shows you, and then interpret that. Find out what it means. Find out what certain sensations in the body mean. And then from there, you will be better able to make the right decisions for yourself. And that's the purpose of this channel. It's not for me to tell you exactly what to do in every circumstance because everybody is a bit different. So I hope this helps you in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalglambodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Thanks, Carl.
Mountain.